Good evening, and thank you so much for joining me here at the First Alert Desk. My name's Karli Barnett, and we are ending what's just been a really difficult week here in Metro Atlanta. Of course, for the city of Winder, the Barrow County community, and anyone who maybe attended or knew someone who attended Apalachee High School. So we are staying on top of this breaking news here at Atlanta News First. You can join us tonight at 10 on Peachtree TV and 11 on WANF, where we will have the latest. You can also go to atlantanewsfirst.com or our Atlanta News First app, where we have extensive coverage. If you want to read more about the memorials, the ways that you can help, the way the community is coming together, or anything about the investigation, we have those stories up for you right now. I do want to bring you up to speed on the latest with this, because we do have both of our crews out in Barrow County this evening, reporter Bridget Spencer and reporter Blake Devine. And what we know that's happening tonight is a celebration of life for Richard Aspinwall. He was a math teacher as well as a football coach at Apalachee High School, and he lost his life in the shooting this week. And this is some video of the latest memorial that we've seen out there at Apalachee High School, which just continues to grow. The signs, the flowers, the candles, the stuffed animals, balloons. We have just seen such a huge outpouring of support from the community and from beyond, people who want to offer their support and their condolences. But we know this evening there will be a celebration of life for Richard, or Ricky Aspinwall. They say it will be held at the football stadium, a place along with the classroom, organizers say, where he made an impact on the lives of many players and students. So that is actually going to be taking place at the Flowery Branch High School Stadium on Hog Mountain Road. And attendees, they say, are encouraged to wear their favorite team's jersey or T-shirt. Our reporter Bridget Spencer was out there this evening. She was speaking to loved ones and those who knew and appreciated the life of Coach Aspinwall. They say he coached at Mountain View High School for a decade, was one of four people, one of the two teachers and two students. There were four people total, two teachers and two students that were killed Wednesday at Apalachee High School. Aspinwall was one of those. Organizers say he was killed in the doorway of his classroom as he attempted to usher students from the hallway inside to safety, and has been hailed as a hero for his actions. Former students just say he was always someone who made a difference, both on and off the field. So again, our reporter Bridget Spencer is going to have more on the celebration of life. And we know that there was another teacher who was killed, Cristina, and our reporter Bridget Spencer last night spoke to a family member and tells us just a little bit more about the type of person she was, someone who loved her students as if they were her own children. Even actually, the day that she was killed, she had brought in a birthday cake so that she could celebrate her birthday with her students, or her children, as she called them. Here's what Bridget had to say.
Irimi was full of life.
Her husband wanted the world to know that she was a woman with a big heart and a good soul.
She moved to the U.S. from Romania in '96. Her relative, Gabrielle Booth, says the Irimis were unable to have children, and in turn, she loved her students as if they were her own.
Said, you know what? I'm just going to have my children to dote on at school. My students are my children.
Irimi was killed Wednesday after police say 14-year-old Colt Gray opened fire, killing football coach Richard Aspinwall and students Mason Skirmahorn and Christian Angula. Irimi had big plans for her kids that Wednesday.
She got caught up with her material, I guess, and went home, baked herself a cake, and said, tomorrow we celebrate. Tuesday night, she baked them a cake in honor of her birthday because she wanted to celebrate her birthday with her kids.
Booth says Irimi died while trying to protect her students, something that did not surprise her. A celebration of life is planned for Coach Aspinwall on Sunday at Flowery Branch High School.
Who you just saw there was Richard Aspinwall. So Cristina Irimi and Richard Aspinwall, both of the teachers that were killed in that shooting. Of course, also 14-year-old students Mason Schermerhorn and Christian Angelo were also killed. No word yet on any ceremonies or services to honor their lives at this point, but we know this has just been a lot of heavy news. There's a lot of parents out there who just maybe wondering what to do, how to talk to your children, even some children out there or teens who may be struggling with this information. And there are resources out there. Our Atlanta News First investigator, Better Call Harry, has compiled a list of those and shares those with you tonight.
Barrow County Schools has 6 social workers listed on its website, but how do you counsel 1,900 kids and their families? How do students go back to class and focus on their schoolwork? We found several resources and we vetted them for you. Let's start with 988 Lifeline. What's great about this is that kids are already on their phones texting friends. But if they text 988, they can chat with a licensed counselor for free, or they can call 988 and speak with someone directly. SAMHSA, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, also has a 1-800 number and has a dedicated webpage. Once again, these are licensed counselors who are available 24/7, and it's all confidential. I want to leave you with 2 websites that have lots of resources. The first is ASCA, the American School Counselor Association. It has a dedicated webpage for helping students after a school shooting and includes a list of guidelines and links to articles and webinars about crisis counseling. The other website is youth.gov. It too has a dedicated page with resources to help youth cope after a mass shooting. I want to leave you with a takeaway. If you end up at a website that you don't know anything about, there should be an About Us tab or a link at the bottom of the page. Click on it. It should tell you everything you need to know, and if it doesn't have anything, you want to go someplace else. I'm Better Call Harry, Atlanta News First.
Some really good, really important information there. And if you missed any of that, we do have all of these available on atlantanewsfirst.com. Tonight, if you join us at both 10 on Peachtree TV and 11 on WANF, we will have reporters Bridget Spencer and Blake Devine live from Barrow County to bring you the latest on these memorials and to honor these victims' lives, as well as what the community is doing to step up and just lend a helping hand wherever they can. We're going to go ahead and turn now to a live look outside. Boy, it really has just been a beautiful weekend. Feeling a bit like fall, Cutter. I wish it would stick around for a while.
You know, we'll get a few days. Warm afternoons, but cool evenings. And then the big change in the forecast isn't necessarily a warm up, but it is the tropics and how the tropics may impact or influence our local forecast as we get into late week. If you watch the stream at 4:30, you've heard all about it. And of course, we are going to be talking in depth about that here and again tonight on Peachtree TV at 10 p.m. on Atlanta CW affiliate. And then tonight for the late news at 11 p.m. hopefully going on time tonight on Atlanta News First, WANF, back with a full forecast then as well. Again, thank you for tuning in and for watching. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Cutter Martin here with a check of the First Alert forecast. And if you have any weather questions, comments, concerns, it does still appear that we're having some YouTube issues as far as being able to comment. But you can still text us, 470-777-WANF. That's 470-777-9263. Before we get to the more inclement part of the First Alert forecast, I do want to go ahead and take you outside. Temperatures already back into the upper 70s in the city of Atlanta. I took a nice, walk. A little break here just a few moments ago. It was amazing outside, very comfortable, no humidity really. Temperatures fine, very light breeze, so very comfy. Even, I'd call it cool up in LJ at 66 and Helen at 66, 71 in Canton. So even the North Metro starting to dip back into the upper 60s and lower 70s. Hall County, Forsyth County, Dawson County, Cherokee County, Bartow County. That's kind of the cooler portion of the North Metro. And then on up into the mountains, cooler there. A little warmer, closer to 80 in LaGrange, Eatonton at 76. But even for those spots, I'd say fairly cool given the time of year. Certainly a below average or cooler than normal afternoon across North Georgia. Gorgeous evening. This is Live Look Outside on Marietta Square. Folks out and about enjoying maybe dinner, dessert, just walking around the square. Kennesaw Mountain, gorgeous sunset in the background. We did have a few clouds bubble up this afternoon and this evening, kind of enhancing that sunset in just a few spots. And overnight tonight, we will continue to cool. 64, your forecast low in Atlanta. The average low is 68, so just a little bit below average, a little bit cooler than normal. But look at LJ, 53. Helen, 56. I think some of our mountain peaks could be in the upper 40s tomorrow morning. Even Putnam County, Eatonton, 64, 63 LaGrange and Thomaston. So it will be relatively cool tomorrow after noon may be warm, but the morning will be relatively cool. And again, kind of a tricky time of year where it's cool in the morning. If you're up in the mountains, you may want a light jacket. Far North Metro may want a light jacket, especially for the kiddos waiting at the bus stop before sunrise. But then you're quickly shedding that layer, and we're back to short sleeves and relatively warm conditions as we get into the afternoon. Morning commute forecast, in addition to the comfortable condition, weather's nice, just a few clouds, lots of sunshine, no real risk of fog or anything like that tomorrow morning, but there could be a little bit of dense fog in our river valley. It's just tied to waterways and the fact that we're cooler overnight, but not, really a weather scenario, more of a localized phenomenon that happens, in the valleys and adjacent to rivers, late summer, more so early fall. You get these cooler mornings, you can get some fog developing, but not forecasting or expecting any commute issues or anything like that. And by 9 a.m., wrapping up the morning commute, going into the afternoon, a few clouds will bubble up. It's not going to be a completely dry day across North Georgia, nor metro Atlanta. It's not going to be a completely sunny day. It will be a completely dry day, though, in the first alert forecast. And tomorrow evening, much the same. Much like this evening, a couple of areas of clouds may bubble up. Out the door Tuesday morning, lots of sunshine, perhaps even more sun Tuesday afternoon versus Monday afternoon. But look at what's happening as we get into Tuesday evening. Notice those thin gray lines sweeping in from the southwest, moving in from East Alabama, moving in from South Alabama into North Georgia. This is high-level moisture, upper-level moisture, way up above our heads. We're talking thousands and thousands of feet up there in the form of cirrus clouds, those kind of wispy white clouds way up there in the sky made of ice crystals. We're going to start to see those Tuesday evening. Could be a nice sunset Tuesday evening with those clouds around. And that's actually moisture starting to move in from the Gulf of Mexico and from a tropical system that could bring greater rain chances to the forecast by Thursday and Friday. Both are first alert weather days. But before that, we're just talking about an increase in cloud cover across North Georgia and metro Atlanta. Nice weather through Wednesday. Yeah, we're going to have more clouds, but we are tracking impacts to our forecast potentially Thursday into Friday. Both our first alert weather days. Rain, of course, could impact your plans, slow the commutes. But the change, the kind of visual change in the forecast really begins Wednesday, from nearly completely sunny Tuesday to lots of clouds Wednesday, a sign that changes are on the way. In fact, we can just go ahead and pull up that first alert 7-day forecast and walk you through that transition. Again, Monday, Tuesday, cool mornings, cool to mild, we'll say. Warm in the afternoons, mid to upper 80s, but with low humidity. Light breeze, not too bad. Again, that's not a humid 88, that's a dry air, very low humidity sort of 88. So it's not going to feel all that hot. But technically, warmer than it was today when most of us were in the lower 80s, some of us in the 70s all day long. But with clouds back in the forecast, a little bit cooler Wednesday. I think we're mostly dry, 10 to 20% chance of rain max. Thursday into Friday looking like the wetter days. And again, there is some uncertainty here. We know that a tropical system is going to form in the Gulf of Mexico, likely a landfall along the upper Texas or southwest Louisiana coastline as we get into late Tuesday, more likely Wednesday. And then after landfall, again, that's Wednesday, and we'll show you the track and everything else here in just a moment, a lot of moisture, big envelope of tropical moisture is going to expand across the southeast, the mid-south, and that means while we may not see severe weather, we may not have direct tropical impacts, we may not even see rain that's all that heavy, certainly the rain chance will increase. Now, do we see heavy rain? Do we see isolated severe weather? Those two factors of the forecast, which can't be completely ruled out at this point, really tie to exactly how strong the system gets and exactly where it makes landfall, and more importantly, where it moves, in which direction, and how it evolves after landfall along the Texas or Louisiana coastline. So here is the latest track for potential Tropical Cyclone 6, forecast to become Tropical Storm Francine late tonight or tomorrow. An odd track here. We saw something like this back in 2021 with Hurricane Nicholas, where it was kind of rode the Texas coastline very close to the coastline for a distance, and strengthening as it does so. Forecast to become a hurricane off the upper Texas coast as it approaches a landfall, either upper Texas coast, but possibly east of the Sabine River into southwest Louisiana. Of course, impacts extend well beyond that center of circulation, well beyond that one and that icon that you see. And keep in mind that center, the worst of the weather could be anywhere within that shaded zone. Matagorda Bay, Texas, southwest of Houston, all the way to Vermilion Bay in Louisiana. Could really be anywhere within that zone. So certainly something folks there along the upper Texas coast, Houston Metro, Lake Charles, Louisiana, over to, Baton Rouge, we'll be keeping a close eye on in the days to come. Now, after landfall, again, it will weaken fairly quickly back into depression and then losing all tropical characteristics as it gets into Thursday and Friday. And while this may be the exact path of the system, a lot of moisture is going to extend beyond that center of circulation. Case in point, here's what one forecast model thinks radar might look like, or how the system will evolve over the next several days. Again, not set in stone. We don't even have a system yet. This is just a potential tropical cyclone, meaning that the National Hurricane Center is almost positive that a system is going to develop, in this case, tropical storm or hurricane, eventually Francine, and that it is likely to impact populated areas within 48 hours. Again, it's fairly close to land as it is right now. So for that reason, they've declared it a potential tropical cyclone that lets them issue forecasts even before it officially spins up into something that gives you the extra heads up and allows government officials, emergency managers, for example, governors, and all the way up to the federal level to start making decisions with resources and stuff like that. So going forward in time, again, this evening, tomorrow, likely by that point tomorrow, we're tracking a tropical storm Francine, and that would be in the southern Gulf of Mexico. So the center of circulation, according to this forecast model, regardless of whether it's absolutely correct or not, is somewhere, down in here. But look at how widespread the shield of rain is. Some of this tropical moisture is actually getting blown off to the north and east, and we're even having rains enhanced by this tropical moisture across the state of Florida and kind of trapped there south of a front. That same front that moved through and gave us such nice weather is basically stalled right along the upper Texas and Louisiana coastlines, and that's trapping this system for a time and kind of keeping that moisture shifting east. Now, what's going to happen here over time as we get into next week? That front's going to kind of back up and really not be a factor in the forecast any longer. This system is forecast to, again, move into Louisiana or the upper Texas coastline. Now, regardless of where the center goes, that's not really that important as far as general impacts for the state of Georgia and for Metro Atlanta. This forecast model, not set in stone, not the official Hurricane Center forecast, shows this system coming in a little bit on the eastern edge of that cone of uncertainty. But there is a cone of uncertainty, and that's why the cone is there. Could go anywhere within that, even just outside of that cone of uncertainty at this range. But look at how far north and east that area of rain extends away from that center of circulation. So as this system continues to move through the south and east, even though the worst of the weather is, well to our west, on our first alert weather day Thursday, we're going to be tracking the potential for some widespread rain back in the first alert forecast. And the potential, depending on the specific track and how organized it is after landfall, there could be some heavier rain and there could even be some isolated, severe weather. That's a possibility. I think what's more likely at this point is some persistent wet weather across North Georgia and Metro Atlanta. So even the Thursday morning commute could be slow. Certainly Thursday evening commute could be slow. Friday morning commute could be slow. Friday evening commute could be a little bit delayed. And let's not forget, Friday night lights on Friday, and it's a Friday. People want to get outside, have fun as we get into the weekend here. So those sorts of plans could be impacted, and we will continue to watch how this evolves over the next several days. Lots of uncertainty still in the first alert forecast. We'll be fine-tuning the forecast in the days to come. And a reminder, you can always get those updates at atlantanewsfirst.com and in the First Alert weather app. Weather app looks like this. If you're in North Georgia, Metro Atlanta, free and easy download. You can get updates just like this one. You can actually watch these streams, Atlanta News First Plus streams, weather, breaking news, or otherwise, right here in the First Alert weather app. So you're going to be watching this in the days to come as we, again, track this developing tropical system and how its moisture after landfall may impact our local forecast. Right now, Thursday, Friday, first alert weather days. Those are really the 2 days to watch for any sort of North Georgia impacts. Again, we'll be keeping you updated here in the days to come. We will be passing along those updates as mentioned in all the places that I was just talking about. Want to thank you for watching. Remind you, we're back on your TV, Peachtree TV at 10 p.m. Streaming Atlanta News First on Atlanta's CW affiliate, and then at 11 p.m. we're back over on CBS. WANF. Don't worry about this system unless you have interest, along the Texas or Louisiana coastlines, but be aware of big changes and potential impacts to your plans at the least. as we get into a late week here across the metro area. More coming up, starting at 10.